Okay, let's go.
Welcome back to the channel. I just wanted to go over my punch setup that I used at Headwaters Lake recently for the Florida Kayak Bass Trail tournament. I finished in 5th place in one big bass, which was a 23 3/4 inch bass, almost 24 inches. So I know I had some questions about my setup, and I'm going to go over my setup as well as how to rig this particular setup that I have. So starting off with the reel, I have the Lose. This is the Pro Skip and Pitch, and this reel is amazing. It the large diameter spool prevents a lot of backlashes, and it has 20 pounds of drag, which is more than enough to pull the fish from the thick mats. I have that on 65-pound braid. I believe this is Suffix 832 8-strand braid, strong enough to get them through the thick stuff. And then the rod, which I think really performed really well for me, especially for the big bass. This is a Lose Super Duty Speed Stick. It is 7'11", medium heavy action, moderate fast. And what that action allowed me to do was it gives more bend throughout the rod, and it keeps the bass pinned a lot better than your typical fast action rod. So, and again, the medium heavy, I get a lot of sensitivity out of it. 7'11's a little long. However, when you're punching, it gives you the leverage that you need to pull them straight out from the mat. So that is my setup. And then in terms of rod, reel, and line, and then for the bait and terminal tackle, I have, this is a Gambler BB Cricket. I know a lot of people say, gosh, that's such a small bait, but when it's cold, they don't like much movement, and I've had a lot of good luck on this bait. Credit to Chris Mitchell for putting me on this bait. Go check out his channel, Chris Mitchell Fishing, if you haven't already. The color on this one is, I believe it's the Bowen black and blue, but it is a black and blue, and then it's got a glitter to it, which I'll show you. And I love flipping this bait. It goes through cover really well. You can see the bottom of it. It has that blue and sparkle, and the top is black. Because it's such a slender body, it slips through heavy vegetation really nice. And then, moving from there, take this bait off here. This is an owner heavy cover hook. And what you'll see is, I must have caught about 20 bass on it. And this happens from time to time. So you have this is a 4/0 hook. Okay, you have your bait keeper here. It's a wire bait keeper. And then they have this sleeve that is supposed to be over top of that bait keeper. But over time in use, it'll slide down from time to time. Almost the entire day I used it like this. It had no effect on it, but that hook point is still sticky sharp after like 20 bass, and I'm gonna keep using it. So the weight is a huge thing when you're punching, when you're flipping. It was very windy at Headwaters that day, so a lot of the mats were compressed due to the wind. So I had been flipping 1.5 ounces, and I struggled to get my bait through the mats. They were only wanting to be in the hyacinth mats. I couldn't find any bass in the hydrilla. So I upgraded to a 2-ounce weight. The 2-ounce weight helped me be more efficient, and it was able to get through the cover a lot better. So in front of that, I have 2 6 cents bobber stops, and I like to use 2 just because it keeps the heavier weights, it keeps them from sliding as much. The knot I use, it depends on how heavy a weight I'm using. If I'm using anything smaller than 1 ounce, I'll just tie either a San Diego jam or a Palomar knot. But if I'm fishing anything over an ounce, I'm gonna use a snell knot, which I'll show you today how to do that. But what that does is when that weight, when you get a hit and that weight pushes against that hook line tie, that hook wants to go up into the fish's mouth. So you're gonna catch a lot more fish with a snell knot when you're using bigger weights, okay? So that's the setup, and then give me a few minutes, I'll set up the camera and I'll show you how to rig this thing. All right, we're back. So this is kind of an up close look at the setup that I was talking about. Here's your 2 bobber stops. Behind that, you have your 2-ounce weight. And then this is the Owner Jungle Flippin' Hook HD, which I'm gonna show you. This is like heat shrink tube. I'll get this back to normal with just a flick of the lighter. Also on the table, I have your 1-ounce weight, your 1.25 ounces, 1.5 ounces, and 2 ounces. So you could see the size difference of each of them. Okay. So you got ounce, 1.25 ounces, 1.5 ounces, 2 ounces. All right. So first things first, I will cut this snell knot off. So again, anything over an ounce, I'm tying a snell knot. You see it goes through the front of the hook here and then wraps around kind of the shank just above the bait keeper. Keeps it secure. So I'll go ahead and cut this off so I can show you how to rig it. All right, so now it's off. See, this bait keeper moves around a bit. I'm gonna take a lighter, heat it up. Scorch it. And now we're locked back in. It will not move. Okay, so we'll tie that right back on. This is just a Owner, the same flipping hook. I just haven't used it yet. So that's that. And then another one I like to use is the OMTD Smart flipping hook. It's got a rubber bait keeper on it, but I've had great success with these hooks. And then again, this is the Gambler BB Cricket Bowen Black and Blue, I think is the name of it. And then if it's a little hotter out and they want some more movement, this is actually the Crush City cleanup crawl. And you'll see it's got some flanges on the crawl that give it some action, black and blue, just like always here in Florida. So let's get this thing rigged up. I'm gonna take this weight off here. And I'm not gonna pull these pegs off because I don't wanna waste them, but essentially they come like this, okay? They've got little wire loops in here if you haven't done them before. All you do is you take your line and you put your line right through that loop. Okay, so the line's through the loop, and then you just pull the bobber stop, the rubber part, over the wire and then onto your line. So I've done that twice already. I'm not gonna waste the bobber stops doing that. And I'll go ahead and put on 1.5 ounces. 1.5 ounces is my typical weight that I use. So I'll just go ahead and feed this weight in, this line in. All right, just like that. And then I'll take my hook. Okay, snell knot. You always want to go through your line, goes the same direction as where the hook point is. So I'm going to go through the front of the hook. Okay, I'm going to pull some extra down. So all I did was go through the front of the hook, get my extra, go down the back of the shank of the hook, make a loop. Just like that. So I have just a loop. Then I'm going to wrap in front of the bait keeper and below the line, the line tie, 4 or 5 times. Okay, so I still have my loop, my tag end. I'm going to put my tag end through that loop that I've created. Pull it. Pull. Oy, oy, oy. Sorry about that. Pull it. Okay, so now I got that line through that loop, and I'm just going to pull it down. Make sure it goes over the bait keeper. Okay, and then you cinch it down. And then there's no need to trim the excess all the way down. A lot of times I just leave about 1/4 of an inch of line still on there, pretty much hidden when you thread the bait through. All right, so that's that. And then, like I said, once you have that tied like that, this is essentially the action that you're looking for. So it makes that hook want to come up when the line gets tight. Okay, and I'm going to rig up. I had some questions about whether or not the BB Cricket would fit a hook and how I do it. So here we go. So BB Cricket, blue side down. Let me go ahead and pull some of this Headwaters mat off of this. I go blue side down, okay? Thread it on there straight, make sure you're straight. And I go down a little bit, come out about the second, third segment down. Thread it on, all the way up, twist it around, seat it there, okay. Now, you'll see this hook point is almost the size of this bait. So what I do is I come in almost at the head and I just sit it. I sit that bait right into that point. Okay, just like that. So the hook point is right here, but you can't see it. And I don't really need the bait to come all the way down here, because once they hit it, I'm a swing and that hook point's coming right through. So that's the setup. This is what it looks like in hand. All right. And I'm going to share some pictures of the bass, and if you guys have any questions, comments, feel free, comment, like, subscribe. Thank you.